exactly when it happened, but there was a writer's strike in around 2005. It was a massive writer's strike, and the networks flooded the channels with reality television because you need to you didn't need to write a goddamn script. Yeah, it's all scripted, but you didn't need like actual writers creating story and they kind of just never was. Survivor had already been out for like 10 years at that point, but
so they didn't really need to.
It was like apparently that one writer's strike really catapulted reality TV show into everything, and now it's
now we're at the downfall of civilization because of reality TV. Now
I fucking hate it so much, so much. Are we? We're rolling.
Kim Kardashian, if you're watching this, fuck you.
Yeah, fuck you, Kim Kardashian. You ruined my fucking television.
You ruined my life.
We're rolling, right? Sweet. All right. We better keep that in there about Kim Kardashian ruining our fucking lives.
No context either. No context. Just like, dude. Can you believe that?
Just the beginning of the podcast, drunk, bald, white dude pouring mezcal talking about how Kim Kardashian fucking ruined his life. Welcome, everyone. My name is Brandon Bagg. This is Emmett Jerome. How you doing, man?
How you doing? Cheers.
Cheers.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. This is kind of like, I feel like we did this a little bit backwards because you've already been in this space. This is your third time here.
It's my third time here.
Recording something. Because you were here. You did your own Gastown session, but you also accompanied Kate Yon for her Gastown session, right?
So I did. We had a beautiful one with me playing on the deck, which was a ton of fun. And then I came and played with Kate. I did some guitar for her, and that was awesome too. So third time's the charm. We get to kind of talk about some stuff. I feel like I'm stoked.
I feel like I kind of got introduced to you, Kate, and Alvin Brendan all around the same time.
Oh, cool. Yeah. All shredders. Wow.
Oh yeah, fantastic players.
Yeah, those guys are amazing.
It was cool to see, and I talked a bit about them. It was cool to see, new faces come into Guilt and kind of strut their stuff and show their stuff.
I feel like I didn't really know what I was stumbling in on when I first went to Guilt. I was like, oh, this place seems cool. Not really expecting to find what I found, which was like a really strong music scene, a really strong community, and like just this orbit of musicians.
Are you pretty recent to Vancouver?
I'm going on 3 years.
3 years.
Yeah. So I still feel recent, but I'm starting to kind of be like, okay, like I get it.
No one from this city is from this city.
No, 100%.
I meet people that say they're from Vancouver, and I'm like, I don't trust you.
It's like there's like this like low point, and like everything rolls downhill and ends up here on the coast. Yeah, at some point or another, everyone just like will pass through.
Where are you based out of?
So I live here now. I grew up in a small town south of Calgary.
South of
Calgary.
South of Calgary. Yeah. I did know that. Yeah. What's the name of the small town?
It's called Bragg Creek.
Bragg Creek.
Bragg Creek.
Yeah.
Shout out.
Shout out to Bragg Creek.
Shout out Bragg Creek.
How small?
I'd say maybe 1,000 people, probably a little more. It's really
Was music
small.
always the thing for you?
Ooh, yeah. I mean, I got into playing. I was probably 9 years old, and I was really, really stoked right off the bat.
Yeah,
and haven't changed course really. So that's been cool. It's been with me like for such a long time, and I feel like it's always shaped where I'm going and what I'm doing. So yeah, music has been a huge part of my life.
Was that part of the drive to come out to Vancouver? Was it to play music?
100%.
Yeah,
100%. I mean,
go out west, play music,
get dumped.
Yeah.
Jump in your car.
Yeah,
here like the next day. No, I mean, like I came out.
It sounds like the beginning of a good rock song.
Honestly,
or country song, whatever you want.
Rock song, country song, jazz standard.
Yeah,
go on. Load the Volkswagen. Yeah, man. I mean, Bragg Creek and like the Alberta scene's really cool, and there's a lot of really rad bands and Tyler Allen, and there's some great players and Boots and the Hoots and. But I definitely, I think I was more attracted to go west than stay home just because, for a small town dude. Vancouver's like the final frontier. It's like the surface of the moon.
Right.
And now I'm here. I'm like, it's so small and chill.
It's super tiny. Yeah.
Yeah,
you go to like
super manageable,
an actual big city. You're like you're in Los Angeles, and you're like, what the fuck is this place?
Seriously, 100%. So Vancouver feels like home now. It feels so chill.
You can actually walk from one end of the Vancouver. You can like have breakfast at the far end of Vancouver, and then have lunch at the complete other side of it.
Jump on your bike.
Yeah.
Whip across town. Yeah. So it's really chill.
Something I've really always loved about your playing is I can hear a lot of influences in it. You got a killer voice, you got a killer sound.
Thank you.
You're sitting here with an Ace of Spades t-shirt,
Motorhead t-shirt.
You walked in wearing a cowboy hat. I've heard you play some more strict like rock and roll stuff, jumping on stage with different artists. I've heard you do a lot of rockabilly. I've heard you do country influence stuff. Is that all kind of sound wise part of your influence growing up? Is that stuff that you heard as a kid, or did you gravitate to that?
I think I was raised on music that was predominantly originates from the blues.
Right.
I started playing blues,
which is like most music.
most really, honestly, the good stuff. If you're looking for the good stuff, you kind of look no farther than all the classic blues records. So I feel like growing up,
even hip hop comes from the blues.
Hip hop, I mean, I think you'd be hard pressed to find like a stream that didn't come from that river,
Totally.
So
or didn't at least
or didn't cross paths
at some point. Yeah.
At least with American music.
Yeah.
So like, I started playing music, and really quickly being a guitar player, it was like blues right away. I was like, that is the best stuff I've ever heard. And then ever since then, it's just been a kind of like the river metaphor. It's like you kind of follow that river and follow that path. So playing blues, next in line was like Aerosmith and the Dire Straits and those kind of bands that borrow really heavily from that. And then as time went on, I started to like lean into jazz, get really interested in that. Right now I'm like balls deep in a country phase, that's been going on for like probably 4 or 5 years of playing bluegrass and country. And, so it's definitely taken me all over, but I mean, I still tell people, I'm like, I'm just like, I'm a blues player. I'm a blues thinker because, that's where I feel like the music comes from. No matter what style you're doing, I feel like the music comes from the blues.
Yeah. You mentioned Dire Straits, and I just had to come back to it because one of my favorite guitar riffs of all time is the beginning of Money for Nothing.
I started playing that today. We're in the studio today, and we're like trying to figure out this guitar tone. I'm like,
it's so like just tasty.
It's so sick, and like, I have no words. Mark's the man. Mark's probably like been one of the biggest influences, and I feel like he doesn't get enough credit for just being like this badass thumb picking dude. And
yeah. Did you ever get into solo stuff?
Yeah, dude. Not a ton, but that record Shangri-La, I believe they did in like 2000. Yeah. I really, really liked that. I think that's it for the solo stuff that I like really, really dug into. I mean, he's done like a record with Chet Atkins. It's
really?
Crazy. Yeah, because Chet Atkins certified him as like Chet Atkins has this, he can certify guitar players. So he certified Mark Knopfler as like a Mr. Guitar, like you're the man, Chet Atkins, Jerry Reed, and Mark Knopfler are apparently the only guitar players, according to Chet Atkins.
The only guitar players?
There's only 3.
There's only 3 guitar players, period.
And everyone else can get fucked.
Everyone else can just take their ukulele and shove it up their ass.
Stop. Don't let Chet catch you with a
certified.
Dude, I think that's so lame. The goal. But yeah, hell yeah.
It's fucking lame,
no,
but
100%.
I'm doing it.
Every day doing push-ups to Chet Atkins songs. No,
there you go, right? Whatever gets you there.
Yeah. Yeah, man, Mark Knopfler's awesome. Chet Atkins awesome. I feel like those guys have all been super huge on the playing. Brand new guitar players listen, they're probably nodding along. I'm like, I get it.
Yeah. You've been popping up like like quite a bit in like all over the city, playing gigs here and there. I think you mentioned you were gigging just on the weekend.
Yeah, like I've got a bunch of wild stuff coming up always.
And you've been doing you've been appearing at Guilt pretty regularly, both as a solo artist and both as a guitarist. What's your focus right now? Is it just to play as much as you can, or are you focusing more on your solo act? Or
I mean, good question. I feel like ever since moving to town, I had like the ambition was to learn, and I still feel like I haven't learned enough. So I'm always following my nose down whatever pathway I can go where it feels like there might be something new there that I haven't learned. There might be something I could pick up and try out. So that's what's really led me to be, I feel like, contributing all over the scene right now, because I'm really interested. I'll be your guitar player, but I also want to write. I also want to make my own stuff. I also want to book a tour. I also want to do this. So I've just been jumping around and using whatever footholds I can get to just do stuff and learn stuff. And for me right now, everything I'm doing is I'm doing it for like the first time ever. So it's all just like.
Has writing always been a big thing for you?
I've been writing ever since I was a kid, like, but I never.
You're one of those guys who wrote his like first song when he was 6 and drove his parents crazy.
Honestly,
no judgment. Like I think that's.
I feel like my writing stayed in a book until very recently. To be honest,
how far back, like as a child, can you remember? I
remember
of
writing
like,
songs at like being like 12 years old.
Can you remember the songs the earliest songs that you've written? Could you sing a lick from a song that you wrote when you were 12 right now?
I think the earliest song, bum, 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 I feel fine. Doctor said it working overtime. I remember writing a blues song when I was like 15. That was probably the first song I ever played that was like a song I wrote that I felt good enough about to bring it out in public. And I think I wrote it about just classic 15-year-old things. I wrote it about like this is really weird, but I don't know. I was listening to a lot of blues and rock, and I think I'd read Slash's biography at the time, and he had like all this stuff about like when he came off heroin, and he was like talking about being in like this fever state, and I thought that was really cool. So I wrote a song about that, and it sucked. And you
got to start somewhere. Right? There's someone. It's obviously a different field, but it's a very famous playwright, screenwriter. And I'm blanking on who his name is, but someone will know the quote. And I'm paraphrasing it as well because I don't remember it because I drink too much. But it's about the importance of writing shit. You know, you have to be able to write.
Like writing poorly?
You have to be able to write a lot of terrible crap and be okay with it. And just keep going.
It's like a layer of paint.
And keep going and keep going.
You paint a little layer every day.
I don't know if it equates as well to songwriting as it does to screenwriting, but
oh, dude, I mean, like I guess with songwriting, the thing is like I feel like you always feel like a beginner, which is why I really like it.
Yeah.
Every time you sit down to create something, it's always a new perspective on something, and you may have honed your taste about what you like, and you may have honed parts of your craft about, you know, choruses and verses and bridges and how to structurally put something together. But sitting down to tell a story, like, you just have to dive right in and hope for the best. And that's always how it's felt.
Also, the second you stop having that beginner's mind is the second you stop learning. And what the fuck is the point of stop discontinuing learning, right?
Well, and you write a song. I mean, what I've learned about that is you have to keep your expectations just at the door.
Yeah.
You sit down to make something. The goal for me is to joyfully create something and to come out the other side different than what I went into it as. You know, so to write a song and to really find something in there that was unexpected. Maybe you feel something you didn't think you would feel. That's huge.
Do you enjoy writing with others as well?
Yeah, Kate and I wrote a song together, which is cool, and I've helped her with some of her stuff, musically, organizing. Yeah, I really like. I've written quite a bit. Jay Gavin, we've written together, and that's Kate Yon, who I mentioned earlier. We've written together, and I just wrote a song with Wesley. There's a name, Wesley Attiu. He's like a kind of a folk singer guy. He helped. I've got a band called Badmny. My rock band is called Badmny, and we all write together. And then recently we brought Wesley in, and we all have these sick new watches. Shout out to Fossil for creating watches that never break. And
yeah, Fossil watches that never break.
Fossil watches that never break, man. And
just say that on air enough. And
we're looking for that endorsement.
Then get famous, and they'll replace it every single time. So the pressure's on. You get famous for your free Fossil watch.
A big Fossil endorsement. Yeah, man, oh man. But yeah, writing with other people is awesome too, because again, you don't know what someone's going to bring. You don't know what's going to pop out the other side.
Do you approach songwriting differently when you're doing it by yourself as opposed to when you're doing it with other?
I feel like when it's with another person, you want to get it done right there. I think that's really important. Right. When it's on your own, I'll over a song for like months. When it's with someone else, if the energy's good in the room, there's like this strong reason to finish the song right there, because you may not see them again for ages. So I think that's really cool with the team songwriting. You can get songs finished.
Put it to tape.
Yeah, and it's done. Which is huge.
Can I pour you another one?
Please.
Or top you off?
Please. Oh, yeah. 100%.
So you've got Badmny, you just mentioned. Are you guys recording at all?
Yeah, so Badmny has been in the studio, I feel like it's been ages now, since the fall, since probably November, December, to work on like a debut album. So we just released our first single. Cheers. What's up, Badmny? Cheers. We just released our first single called Black Widow.
Have you guys played it, Guilt? I don't think you have, as Badmny.
No. I haven't played it, Guilt. It's with that band, I feel like the reason why is it's probably the loudest band you've ever heard. Like, our drummer Taryn is epic. Absolutely.
Which is great if you're in the right space.
Absolutely. Yeah, 100%. Yeah. So there's a place like Guilt, it would be insane.
You got gigs coming up?
Yeah, we got gigs coming up. I think next one, I believe we're playing the Biltmore June 22nd. I'll be at the Painted Ship, Michael's new place, on May 14th.
Sweet. So that June 22nd.
Badmny.
I think this will definitely air before then, right? June 22nd?
Yeah. June 22nd. Yeah. Come check it out. Badmny will be at the Biltmore. And there'll be more stuff popping up. Like, we got some stuff throughout the summer. And what's cool about that band is if people are interested, come check us out on the beach. So when we started as a band, it was kind of tail end of COVID, and we started busking together. And that's how we all met each other. It was through busking. Yeah,
just through busking.
We met through busking. It was really cool. And immediately had a really good connection. And basically it was one of those things, kind of formed the band on the spot. And then it just happened. And then all the money we got from busking, we put towards this album. So we've literally, tens of thousands of dollars we put towards making an album. And then when we are promoting our shows, we go back to the beaches and we'll do these pop-up busking shows as kind of a way to say, like, thanks, you guys are the ones that sent us on this journey. And to also get back to the roots of what that band is. Because the roots of Badmny is like having a huge party on the beach. And I think that's totally. We don't want to leave that behind just because.
Had you done much busking before that?
I grew up doing a lot of busking, mainly because there wasn't, in the town I grew up in, it was very small. There wasn't a lot of places to play. And for me, I just wanted to play. Like, I just wanted to play all the time. So I would, like, there's a post office kind of in our downtown little hamlet, like one city block. And I would get power from there, and I'd sit there with like an electric guitar, and I would just like play music all summer long, like out basically on the streets. So
my only ever experience with busking, that's probably like think it was about 25. I was in Sydney. And I arrived to Sydney without a proper visa. So I couldn't get a job. I was staying with a friend on his boat. And just like, I showed up in with like $100 US to my name, right? Because I was living in Florida before that. And I had a little travel guitar. It's like one of those little tiny little Beaver Creek travel guitars. I don't know if you've seen them. And I had the harmonica rack,
Bob Dylan,
the Bob Dylan,
the mule feeder.
I had the Bob Dylan one. I had one that was firmer, so you could actually do like if you cocked your head the right way, you could actually do some bends,
and stuff. Yeah,
you could do some bend, and so it's a little easier to get like a little bit of a bluesy sound to it. And I was like almost a quarter decent harmonica player, and almost a semi-passable rhythm guitarist,
dude, on the streets.
But I couldn't.
That's like a 9.5 out of 10. Like.
never been much of a singer, and I didn't really fucking know any songs. I just like to fucking. I wasn't gonna play like the chord progression to an REM song and then not sing it.
Yep.
So I would just park at I'd take the train to Sydney, and I'd park at the entrance to like the train station with my guitar case open and just play harmonica over playing guitar
and just let her rip.
And I would just go until I had enough for like, I would play until I had enough to get drunk and eat.
Yeah. The survival essentials.
That was it. And I would just pick a different station every day.
How long did you do that for? 'Cause that's cool. That's really cool. Then
I did that probably for 2.5, 3 weeks, straight. And then my friend who was going to school at the time invited me to a party, and then I met a girl at the party, and then the girl paid for the rest of the trip.
Dude, you travel in style, man.
I mean, I don't know how I pulled it off, but it was fun. It was fun. I could never do that again. Like now I travel, I'm like, I will stay in a hotel. Thank you very much. Like we're going to stay at this Airbnb. I'm like, what?
Like, no, man, I'm just going to busk until I meet a wife. And then there we go.
Well, I mean, it didn't work out. So, but busking was fun. Like it's when you're doing it in a different city. And I guess for you starting to do it in Vancouver, it was doing it in a new city.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, busking is awesome because like I'm not a I don't know, like overly extroverted person unless I have a guitar in my hands, in which case I'll do a backflip. You know what I mean? But like without that, I don't know what to do with myself. Yeah. So I love busking. So I just recently in November like busked my way through the States. Like I went through like Albuquerque. I basically like went all through Texas and the South and stuff, and busked in every city. Made all my money for food and beer. I made it to Memphis, and
Memphis is a great town.
I feel like there's everywhere along the Mississippi. It's like the coolest town ever. Like and the busking was great because I didn't have to make
some
friends.
Stiff competition though in that part.
There's some like amazing musicians. Like New Orleans, I didn't pull the guitar out. I just watched the other guys like rip trombone and washboard and stuff.
Oh yeah, it's insane. I've never been in New Orleans, but I remember
it's pretty wild. Like
remember Memphis.
It's really cool to see the music down there and like see it alive and
just the culture too, right? And just see where it all came from. And
dude, it's like a music pilgrimage, right? Like it's kind of why I went.
That's why I went to Memphis.
That's how I got to Memphis.
Yeah. It was. I was supposed to go with a friend of mine. We had planned it for months, and then the day before I left, he wouldn't answer the phone, and they didn't show up to the bus station because we were greyhounding it. And I said, "Fuck it, I'm getting on the bus." And the reason he didn't show up was because he was getting married.
Oh.
And I'm going to see him in New York in a few weeks because he just got divorced.
Oh, maybe a trip to Memphis is finally in order.
Maybe a trip to Memphis is finally in order, man.
Damn.
So, right before I left, I was speaking to a mutual friend of ours, and he said, "You have to say this to Emmett. You'll get a good story out of it. Lone Star."
Oh, dude. Okay, Trevor.
He knows who it was too. He's like, "You're gonna get a laugh and a good story."
Man, the good story is fuck you, Trevor. everywhere I feel like Trevor has this like way of like getting like he got you. You're like I'll be like, you know, in a bar in some city far away in another country, and some random person will be like, some guy at the bar said to say Lone Star, and I'll turn around and Trevor's there, and I'm like, what the fuck? And I feel like the story behind the Lone Star thing isn't that wild at all. It's just one of those things where Trevor and I are obsessed with Dale Watson, who is a musician from Austin.
Yeah.
And he lives in Memphis now, actually. And he is an absolute beauty in every sense of the word. He, I don't know. He's just like, he's like the epitome of country music.
Yeah.
He's endorsed by Lone Star. So he gets up on stage and he'll drink like 50 Lone Stars, and then he'll get behind the seat of the bus and he'll drive to the next gig. And he's been doing this his whole life. And he does Lone Star endorsements on stage. So he'll get up on stage.
Is he like the only thing that Lone Star endorses? Like,
I don't think Lone Star endorses other people, but like Dale Watson is Texas as fuck. And they're like, yeah, that guy needs an endorsement. I think that was me.
It was you.
That's not very kosher.
Whatever. Fucking Lone Star.
We're drinking mezcal.
Fucking Lone Star,
motherfucker. And so anyways, Trevor and I are obsessed with him ever since we like sat in a bus together doing, you know, a few tours and listening to Dale Watson like for like hours on end, and listening to his, he does little infomercials in his albums where he's like, Lone Star, the only beer that whitens your teeth, and like does all these. And I went to go see him live, and best show of my life. He was like, he ripped.
Where'd you see him?
I saw him at the Continental in Austin, and it was amazing. Of course,
I fucking love Austin.
Austin's the shit, and Dale Watson is the man.
Yeah.
So those two went hand in hand so well.
Yeah,
and
you ever see? There's a really famous movie theater in Austin. I forget what it's called, but last time I saw something there called a quote along, where it's like in the old style like theater where like, you know, you're actually sitting at a table and there's people, you know, come and serve you drinks and food during the movie. We watched Ghostbusters.
Nice.
And they served like Jello lime like shooters because of slime. And you're like, you were allowed to talk through the whole fucking film as long as you were speaking lines from the movie. And they did it with all sorts of movies there. It's good. Ghostbusters just happened to be the one that I saw. But I tripped out when I was in Austin. I was there just like a random, 4 or 5 day period. Don't even know if it was landed on a weekend. And I've always loved live music. I remember walking down the street, Austin, Texas, like talk about playing at like, you know, places here like Guilt and Company. Or, you know, Water Street Cafe's got the upstairs spot now. Osita's just opened up. Back in the day, we used to have the Media Club. There used to be a lot more places to that music was happening. Heatley's doing stuff now, which is really cool. But Heatley doesn't really have like a stage, right? He's like that guy has made a stage, which is also super cool. Shout out to the Heatley; they're good people over there. But Austin, you walk by like every single fucking bar, and there's music in every one of them. And
it's the best honky tonk band you ever heard in your life.
Fucking really good.
100%. I mean, and the cats that are hanging around are some of the best in the world. Like, I've seen some amazing world class players at like jams and sitting in and doing like really, really. What's that? I think Kim Wagner. He's like what's the not Juno? What's the American one? He's like a Grammy winning like bluegrass producer and stuff.
Yeah.
Like I saw him at like a Tuesday night taco place, ripping mandolin. You know, and I was
just
like, what the? And like I chatted with him. He's just hanging out, and you know, so honestly, out of everywhere I've been through in the South, and I had drastically different experiences everywhere I went. Austin was amazing, and the character, the music there was so cool, so cool. So I would, I'd go back. I would, if there's any, trying to get my like Texas wife so I can like get the visa, get the green
card, your Texas wife,
and like literally go move to Austin and live there forever. Is that?
Yeah, you could just go and do it like illegally for however long, because it's pretty easy to get away with as a musician. It's like, shut up, man! Don't give away my fucking plan,
dude. It was not easy. Like when I went down, I didn't have any shows booked in the States because I wasn't planning on playing. I was going to busk,
and
hang out and just take it in. And I ended up playing a little bit while I was down there, just by like being in the right place at the right time.
Yeah.
But when I got to the border, they searched all my shit. They were like, where are you touring? What are you doing? Where are you going? And they like hauled me in and questioned me for hours because they thought I was never coming back.
You were just like, dude, your country isn't that fucking great.
Well, and they were like
it's cool. It's cool, but like...
Oh, just like I just want to like abandon my friends and family and like change my identity just so I can like live in your country. And
I'm American, and I went through.
Oh, whoops!
No, fuck it. I'm American by birth and Canadian by where I landed, and don't really give a shit about either. I'm never really was much for nationalism, but I love culture. So like. I love Vancouver. I love Austin. I love California.
Everywhere's different,
but I don't love any of the governments.
If you had to land somewhere for the rest of your life, what would it be? Like a country, not.
Oh God, a country specifically?
Country specifically, you've got to be like the most hardcore cultural supporter. You've got to go live there the rest of your life. What would it be?
Money isn't an object.
No.
I have
no. You can go have the best life.
I would Mexico for sure.
Mexico
for sure.
You're like, I want to be a kingpin in Mexico.
No, I don't want a kingpin. I just don't have to think about anything.
You just want to. That'd be sweet.
Yeah.
Any part of any place in particular?
Well, I've only really spent any time in like the Mayan Riviera, just recently, actually.
Yeah.
I grew up in the southwestern United States, so I went to the Tijuana and Ensenada when I was a kid and stuff, but like don't really like, it's super touristy and
yeah.
But yeah, no, the Mayan Riviera is beautiful.
Cool, man.
Yeah,
very cool.
People are amazing. Food is amazing. Music is amazing.
I've never made it down south, but it's on the radar for music actually. Like I've always wanted to do kind of similar to what I did in the States, but maybe where go and travel around, and because you always, as a musician, what's great is you always end up meeting other musicians. Like people, totally. They'll just pick you out, and people will just be like, "Hey, I can tell that you play," and I'm like, "Yeah." So I always made friends everywhere I went, just by like.
One of my favorite memories it was actually the same trip that I ended up in Australia. It was the first stop because I bought a 5-6 month Greyhound pass for like $500.
Yeah,
it was just unlimited Greyhound travel anywhere in North America. I mean, it's probably still a thing. It's not more than $500 now. This was 15 years ago.
Yeah.
But fuck, I'm getting old. I was staying at the Green Tortoise Hostel in Seattle, which I think is still there. And I was in the. I remember I went out for a few drinks. Couldn't find anything to do. Was like kind of got drunk somewhere and came back in kind of disappointed. And I walked into the common room, and there's like 30 fucking people from all over the world hanging out in the common room.
Yeah,
smoking, drinking, laughing, telling stories. So I was like, okay, this is where I want to be. And there's a dude in the corner, just like, and I was a bit stoned, I think, as well. And there's a dude in the corner just playing guitar, and I was like, that's where I want to be. So I ran upstairs and got my guitar. Came back down. Dude was playing a simple riff. I started playing. I don't even think we left E the entire fucking time. Like we were just sitting there playing.
People's key of E.
People's key of E. Yeah.
Yeah. It's where you...
And I must have sat there playing with this guy for a solid 2 hours, just jamming. I had a great time, and then went to bed. Woke up the next day, sitting down. It's one of those hostels where breakfast is served, but you have to like go and make your own breakfast. Wash your dishes and all that shit. So I'm sitting there making breakfast, sit down, this woman sits down in front of me and just starts talking to me in French. And I'm like, oh fuck, I thought this wasn't gonna happen in America. like I don't speak French. That's why I didn't go to Europe.
You're bonjour.
Because I'm hopelessly monolingual. Like I do not, and I fucking hate it about myself.
Canadians and Americans are like so screwed with that.
And I just said, I'm really sorry, but I don't speak French. And she was like, she switched to English. And she was like, what do you mean you don't speak French? You spent all night with Vincent. Let's call him Vincent. And I was like, who the fuck is Vincent? She was like, the guy with the guitar. You spent all night hanging out with him. You smoked like 3 joints with him. I'm like, what about it? She's like, he doesn't speak English. I'm like, and it didn't dawn on me till that moment that I had not actually spoken to him
the whole time.
And it never even came up like that we needed to speak.
Circle back.
Yeah.
People's key. That's why. You sit down, anybody, any language, and just go to town.
That's
really cool, actually.
It's fun. I remember it being a fun way of meeting people, just having now you show up with a guitar, and unless you're really, really good, you're that dude.
Look at this photograph.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like,
what's the bad one? Riptide. I'd say if I ever hear somebody with like a ukulele play Riptide again, baby running down to the Riptide.
Oh yeah,
you know that one? I'm like ready to put them through a wall. I'm just
back in my day, it was Sublime. Like every dude,
practice.
Every dude with bleached tips and like a tribal tattoo,
like white dreads,
and like white dreads knew like the entire Sublime catalog.
Oh dear. Fall so far from grace. That's a funny one.
Yeah, and not to badmouth Sublime because
Sublime rocks.
I love Sublime.
Sublime culture, however.
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird things, but it's one of those things that like suburbia just ruins fucking everything. And I'm a product of suburbia. Like I grew like
whatever happened to the Sublime purists?
Yeah. It's like they're heroin addicts. That's what the Sublime purists were. But it's like suburbia hijacks everything and then makes it its own thing. So what's on the horizons for you? What are you excited about?
Dude, I'm excited that we're heading out of a super dreary winter because summertime is
this winter sucked.
Everyone's favorite time to play music. So I'm super stoked. I'm getting gonna be shows all over kind of BC and Alberta and it's I don't know. It's very, very exciting time right now. The calendar is just like literally full every weekend. It's like shows all over the place. So I'm super excited for that.
All with various different groups?
Various different groups, but lots of stuff with my band Badmny, lots of stuff with my country band. And some like cool touring dates like going on. We're looking at going on the road with Antonio and
oh fuck,
so it's gonna be awesome. Those guys are such a good hang.
Yeah, and I've been wanting to get him on here as well. Antonio LaRosa.
Antonio LaRosa,
fucking
the Italian stallion,
such a good dude.
Yeah, no, and
and phenomenal for not like that voice, that fucking voice. Mm-hmm. It does things to me.
It does things to me. Antonio, you gotta wait.
Antonio, did you go to the Antonio Wooden Horseman show? You were there, right?
I was playing.
Yeah, you were in it.
This happens a lot. I feel like were you at the show? I was like,
I was on stage.
I was hiding in the back. No, okay, but the thing is,
that was a great show.
That was great because
it was a great night.
That was a great night for me as well because Marcus Ramsey is a guitar legend and he has the main spot in the Antonio band. He's a huge part of that band, and I play second fiddle to Marcus and love that because I learned so much. So that was a huge part of that show was that it was Marcus and I sharing the lead roles and working as a team to like really crush that show. So he'd be jumping around on pedal steel and slide, and I'd be doing different guitar stuff, and it was really, really cool. So that was probably the highlight for me for that show is getting to geek out with this phenomenal musician and guitar player and just kind of pick his brain.
Did you pick up any pedal steel from him while you were at it?
Dude, I wish. I'm like in desperate need of some pedal steel help. So GoFundMe, pedal steel lessons.
GoFundMe, pedal steel lessons, yeah. You circle back to what we were talking about at the beginning. we're talking about the blues and everything that the river that stems from that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Are there specific genres that you haven't sort of dipped your foot in to that offshoot of the river that you're excited about or trepidatious about?
Oh, that's interesting. Interesting one. I would say that there's the R&B, jazz, funk world is something that eludes me right now.
Yeah.
100%.
Is it something that you're interested in, or is it just something that...
It's something I'm definitely interested in.
Yeah.
It's not something that is in my wheelhouse right now and is one of my strengths. So it's really cool. There's a lot there that I feel inadequate right now.
Also, it comes from the same fucking source.
They're so closely related, and like it's just like a different shade of blue, right?
Yeah.
But right now that's something that people don't think of me doing that stuff, and I wouldn't go down that rabbit hole. But it'd be cool. I have a feeling that somewhere on the horizon that'll be something. So,
did you do any formal training or anything growing up?
Not growing up. I went to jazz school here for 2 years.
Were you at Capilano?
I went to Capilano for 2 years.
Half the people I've talked to on the show are fucking Capilano grads. So many great players have come from that program.
Yeah, honestly, Capilano, thank you very much. I bitched and moaned while I was there, but it worked. So Capilano was super huge for me, and I was encouraged to go by a random guitar player who I'd never met. I just saw at a show and said, "Hey, how'd you get so good?" And they say, "Hey, buddy, go to Capilano for 2 years and learn to read, learn to play, learn to listen, hang out with some amazing professors, have your mind absolutely blown, and most of all, just be humbled by all of it."
Yeah.
And then
which can be a magical experience, being humbled.
It's absolutely magical and upsetting and like it's insane. And
the upsetting is part of the magic.
I think totally worthwhile.
Yeah.
For everybody. I couldn't really think of someone who wouldn't benefit from being humbled day in and day out. It does wonders to who you are. So
did you find it difficult coming into a difficult or challenging or exciting coming into a formal jazz training program as someone with their roots in deeper blues or rock or country?
Yeah, what worked for me at Capilano was that I got there and I already knew who I was. I think I enrolled, I was 19, but I had done a lot of stuff before that, and I was very stubbornly set in my ways about things.
Yeah.
In the regard that I had confidence in who I was and in my playing and what I wanted to do.
Right.
So getting to Cap was really intimidating because I didn't know how to read music, and I was shocked they let me in based on my audition. And a lot of the kids in the program had come from pretty rigorous formal training backgrounds. I was all my kind of peers there. A lot of them had been going to jazz camps and doing this Capilano feeder kind of programs since they were really young. I mean, I got kicked out of the music program in my high school. So that I was I didn't have anyone really rooting for me or pushing me to do this. It would always just been me, and but I didn't see that as I was a lot less skilled and had a lot more catching up to do, but I never saw my path up to that point as a drawback. I always thought that, I was really proud of what I'd come from.
Yeah.
So
there's different kinds of education, and there's different kinds of experience, and
no, 100% different kinds of experience. And there's stuff that can't be taught. in a school. And
there's a lot that can't be taught, which is a weird thing. But
yeah, well,
sometimes you meet people and you're just like, wow, you suck. There's no fixing that. Like, that's not gonna get any better. Like, I don't know how to help you with that.
You go to school, but damn.
But you're gonna get to the end of it. And you're still gonna suck.
Those people are called assholes. When someone's an asshole, unfortunately, you know.
I think you could
just got to stop being an asshole
and not suck.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I just say that because I'm a little bit of an asshole. So I hope it's true. I hope it's true.
I feel like everyone's got like I think a lot of people that play music, you got a bit of a chip on your shoulder, but I feel like I learned from I had some awesome mentors growing up. Like all the guys I played with were much older than me, much more experienced, and I got the chance as like a young kid to play with some amazing musicians, and they were humble. They were so humble, and it taught me that when it comes to learning, you either have an ego or you don't. Mm. So there's no such thing as like, oh, I've got a little bit of an ego, but it's under control. It's like, man,
you can't have an ego when you're learning. There's no point.
If you value this,
it doesn't matter how far you get or how much you know. Mm-hmm. There's always something more to learn. There's always someone that knows more than you about whatever particular subject it is.
So just if you're in that,
why have an ego?
Exactly.
That's what I understand, because it doesn't serve.
It doesn't serve. If you're trying to learn, you're trying to be a student of what's around you and have your eyes wide open. There's never going to be, oh well, it's a little bit of an ego. No, it's either all or nothing.
I love the ideology or the philosophy of attempting to always surround yourself with people that are more brilliant than you, because then you can steal all their ideas.
People would drag you up.
Yeah.
I mean, this is, I've got a whole summer of playing with musicians that are much more talented than me and much more deserved of these like awesome opportunities. And I've just kind of managed to be really excited. And they're like, well, come along for the ride. And I'm super stoked. I'm basically an apprentice right now.
Not to ruin your whole humility gig, but I think there's more to it than that. From a spectator perspective, having seen you play, having seen the way you interact with musicians, I think you're getting those accolades.
I work really hard. I work really hard. That being said, I also have this. I know that my value right now, like what's valuable to me as a person right now, is learning and not putting a box around anything. So I'm just stoked to be an apprentice to some like amazing people and just continue to learn. And
you get to play with some like awesome people, and they are as well in you.
Yeah,
because you're pretty good.
I'm trying so hard.
You're doing all right.
Not pedal steel though. Don't talk to me about
that. Yeah, sorry about that. I couldn't.
Yeah, come on, man. That's still a sore one.
So you forgot what I was going to say. I better pour some mezcal. You can always tell when Brandon, the podcast host, has had like a little bit more, because he forgets what he's saying halfway through. Or like when he does one at the end of the day. It's like, oh man.
It's like, dude, I've been doing this all afternoon. I'm like 2 bottles of mezcal in. They record these podcasts back to back, right? So you just keep getting loaded.
Yeah, well, we've actually only ever done. I've only ever done a 2 podcast day, and I was struggling to hold it together at the end of the second one. I think I did all right. Hope I did all right.
Some people perform better, a little bit tipsy.
See, I never got that.
Yeah, interesting.
It's like when you're playing pool. There's that magic middle ground where you're like, if you don't play pool, there's that magic middle ground where like it looks like you might play pool and you're half decent at it, but you need like 3 drinks to get there.
I was gonna say it's like 2,
but by the time you get
to 3,
but by the time you get to 4.5, you're shit. You're like worse.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The graph takes a
rapid
spiral.
I've never been in any of the things that I've done. Writing, acting, playing music. I've never been someone who was enhanced by substances.
Even writing, eh?
No.
Not an Ernest Hemingway type guy.
Just stare at the fucking page. And
I feel like drinking is really good, like, if you want to drink.
Yeah, it's great.
I get better at drinking.
It's great. It's great. It's shooting the shit.
You know, shooting the shit, hanging out.
Yeah, hanging out, shooting the shit. Yeah, that's what drinking's good for.
And like it goes on to like making some, fun.
But when I was at theater school, I if I had a show, I didn't drink.
Yeah,
because it was like can't connect. Because it's a nullification and it's great for what it is, but know what it is. Yeah,
that's a good way of looking at it.
So, you've got Badmny. What's the country band you mentioned earlier?
The country band is my project. So my country band is my little solo world where I get to write my country songs. So I call it Emmett Jerome in Hollywood, Alberta. Hollywood, Alberta is the nickname that some people gave me when I first moved here.
Hollywood,
Alberta.
Moved
here, and
it's good. It fits. It fits.
It was pretty funny. Like I was like, had come to town to learn jazz and to go to jazz school, and immediately somebody was like, "Oh, this guy's from Alberta. He can play country," and which pissed me off because it was true.
Yeah.
Even though I was like, which pissed me off because
you and your stereotypes.
I was like, I don't know how to play country, and I was like, well, but I kind of have played country.
Yeah.
So I joined the country band, and they're like, "Oh man, Hollywood, Alberta." I think I had some Elvis.
You watch South Park?
Oh, a little bit.
Yeah. Did you ever seen the episode where Cartman starts a Christian rock band and tries to get Token to play bass?
Yeah.
And he's like, "I don't play bass guitar." And he's like, "You play bass guitar?" He's like, "I don't play bass guitar." And he gets there and he puts a bass guitar in his hand. He's like, "All right, Token, play some lick." He's just like, "God damn it!"
It's like guy from Alberta, and they're like, "Dude, you're a redneck. Like, you can play guitar, and you can play Telecaster and shotgun beers and ride an ATV." I'm like, "No, I cannot." And then like proceeds to do exactly that.
4 Hank Williams dudes.
So that was how Hollywood, Alberta became a thing. I thought that was a hilarious name, and I decided to when it was my time to kind of make my own band, I called it Hollywood, Alberta. And
cool.
Yeah,
is that cool. All originals?
No, I mean with that one that's what I strive for, and what the boys and I strive for is to be just like in the style of the bands that we've seen in Nashville, and especially, and in Austin, where they've got this huge catalog of every country song known to man. So I write, and when we perform, we'll do all my own songs, but I think we pride ourselves in always trying new stuff and to like expand our vocabulary. Like, all right, so who we got? We got Merle, we got George Jones, we got Hank, we got Waylon Jennings, Willie Nelson, like Junior Brown. You're starting to like get into like more specific styles and just deeper into that realm of country music. And so yeah, there's a ton of covers in that, but that's kind of what we're about. Like, where I like that band. I want to be able to play all the country songs is the goal.
I asked you earlier about the way that you approach writing by yourself as opposed to writing in a collaboration. Do you approach writing differently when you're going into with the Hollywood, Alberta country stuff, with the Badmny, the rock stuff? Do you approach those two types of writing differently?
Yeah, they actually have a different approach, because the band Hollywood, Alberta is me, and I hire all my buddies. So I write the music, tunes. I write the set lists, and all my buddies, they come and they support, and we all get paid, and it's awesome. But at the end of the day, I kind of like run the show on that one, So I write all the music. Badmny, what's great is we are all the best of friends, and we hang out all the time. So we write our songs collectively, usually in the moment, in about 5 seconds, kind of thing. Like it's one of those bands where we're all best buds.
Every song is paranoid.
We can write one song over and over again.
No, you know the song, the story behind Paranoid, right?
Like the Sabbath tune?
Yeah. I don't know if it's true.
Did they just make it up?
Well, they had a 7-track record,
Mm-hmm.
and the label wanted them to have an 8-track record.
Okay.
And they were just like, apparently it was written and recorded in 15 minutes.
There's so much music is though, like,
yeah,
which is really cool because there's not much. It's not, there's not too much to like a rock song or a pop song. You just got to bang and feel good.
And sometimes simplicity that's one of my favorite parts about CCR. I'm a huge CCR fan.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also fucking simple.
So simple.
But so perfect.
So simple, but like super well executed and with great feeling.
Yeah.
So
I talked to Paul Clark.
Mm-hmm.
We had him on here, and he talked about the execution of certain types of music. Specifically, he's talking about rockabilly and country, about how it can be passed off as simple or easy or not, but like to do it well and to do it right and to do it tight, and to do it with feeling.
Yeah.
You can sense it, you can feel it, and it's like the simple doesn't mean less.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's more, and that's what I love about
Well,
it's one of the things I love about music.
One of the things with country, especially being in the rhythm section, is you'll play 3 hours of music in a night. You'll play like 50 songs, and every one sounds different, even though they've all got the same 3 chords, and they got the same little country backbeat. Why is that? It's because everyone grooves and swings a little bit differently. Mm-hmm. And the difference between like a George Jones shuffle and a Ray Price shuffle.
Yeah.
Are miles apart, and then you might go early Waylon, late Waylon, like this rock and roll stuff.
Yeah,
it's important. There's so many subtleties that go into simple music because you can't hide behind like flash and complexity. You've got to just take the, these like simple ingredients that you have and just rework them over and over and over and over again. So
yeah. Because it's the right ingredients too, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So if you pulled out your phone right now and pulled up Spotify, you got Spotify.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Press play. What would play?
Do you want to see?
Yeah, that's it.
Let's see. My phone's over there. Do you mind grabbing my phone? We don't know what's going to play. We have no idea what's going to play, but we'll do this authentically. All right, so there's Spotify.
There's a camera there.
Oh, this is great. Nice. So
who is that? That's
Ray LaMontagne.
That's Ray LaMontagne. Yeah.
But I've actually got some interesting little spread here. So if you look at my kind of Spotify front page, I've got some Ray LaMontagne. That seems like pretty in character.
Yeah.
I've also got some Nickelback, which is classic. Can't live without the Nickelback.
Actually, I mean, I can do without it, but that's
I cannot.
Mad respect, not my thing.
And we've also got some. This is probably the one that will catch most people by surprise. Let's get this one. I listen to like a decent amount of really heavy music as well. Let's see. This is breakdown. There we go.
Who's that?
This thing called Sleep Token that I'm like so obsessed with.
So I see you're obviously wearing a Motorhead t-shirt, which is older than Sleep Token, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
But did you do the metal dive as well?
Did I do the metal dive? Kind of. Like there's some bands that to this day are a huge influence. Probably everything that Chris Cornell was ever a part of.
Yeah.
Huge fan of that. Like I'd say 90s, early 2000s kind of rock and metal, super huge.
Well, Chris Cornell, he was, that's part of the whole Seattle evolution of things.
But like specifically Soundgarden and Audio Slave are like absolutely pretty massive for me. So yeah, I mean, so never really went like super specific into metal.
Yeah,
people wouldn't consider that stuff metal as much. Audio Slave,
I wouldn't consider Soundgarden or Audio Slave metal.
No, right?
Yeah, I would consider them Seattle.
Yeah, but like,
but not even grunge. Like
Rage, super into Rage. Like, really was into Rage.
I loved Rage. It wasn't until I got a little bit older that I realized it was quite ironic that they were on a major record label preaching an anarchist message. And I was like, this doesn't...
All of which are American dreams.
Like, you guys are living the American dream. On that note...
They were pissed, though.
Yeah.
They were pissed off.
Yeah. I'm going to pour myself a tiny little extra splash here, so I got something to cheers you. You have a show on June 22nd.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you said, right?
Yes.
And then you have one on May
14th.
May 14th. I don't know if this will be out before the May 14th gig, but do you have anything else coming up you want to give a shout out to?
Anything else coming up I'd like to give a shout out to? Well, we're in Gilton Co. pretty soon. I think we're in there like on Monday in a couple weeks, which is May 22nd. We're going to be in Gilton Co.
All right, so May 22nd. If you guys didn't go to the May 22nd show, I'm pretty sure this episode's going to air after May 22nd.
Oh, yeah?
Then fuck you.
If you weren't there,
bummer.
Huge bummer.
You are one of those people that we talked about earlier that sucks.
Perpetual assholes stuck in a cycle.
Thank you so much for being here, man. It was
Thanks for having
awesome
me.
talking to you.
Cheers. Thanks for having me.
Seeing all that you do.
Tons of fun.
Cheers.
All right. Take it easy.